Today I'm going to show you how to make your own tassel. You'll either need a container like this or a piece of cardboard is fine too. However big your container or cardboard is, that is how big your tassel will be. So you can also cut a cardboard piece to be whatever size you want. You're going to have some yarn and we are going to start wrapping it around. This is where a skein or a ball of yarn might be most helpful, or you can also cut a long piece of yarn from the yarn organizers. And the more times you wrap, the bigger your tassel will be. So I'm just wrapping this around. I'm holding that loose end up here. All right, that looks about good enough. So now what I'm going to do, I started up here at this end, so I'm going to also finish at this end. And I'm actually going to use the other side now. So my two loose ends are at the bottom, and up here at the top is where I'm going to tie the top of my tassel. So I'm going to cut off a piece of string big enough to make a double knot. And up here at the top, I am going to thread my string through. And this is where sometimes using a pencil to poke it through or having a partner hold it for you can be really helpful. And then I'm going to tie what's called a double knot. So I make an X with my string, and the one that's on top, I loop it around and through. This is a really important knot to use if you're using string or the fiber center. So you have to practice this on a piece of scrap string. Mrs. Hayes will not do this for you. Practice, practice, practice until you get it. Then I make another X, again the one that's on top. I loop it around and through, and I pull it tight. And we can leave these long for now. We'll do something with that later. Then we are going to carefully slide your string off the container or cardboard. And this will be the top of my tassel where I tied the knot. And then down here at the bottom, I'm going to cut my loops. This is where it's good to use the fiber center scissors. They are sharper because they are only used for string and fabric and cloth. The sharp part of the scissors is always at the back of the blades. Notice where I'm cutting, and I'm cutting slowly. Don't worry if your strings are not even, we will trim them later. Then lay your tassel on the table, and now we're going to use something to tie the head. This is where using a fun piece of string from the scrap box might be a good use. This kind of string is not great for making tassels because it starts to fall apart, but it can be really fun for decoration. So I'm going to gather my string like this, and I'm going to lay my fun string on the table, and I'm going to lay my tassel down about wherever I want that knot to be. I'm going to go ahead and tie a single knot. This is like the knot when you start tying your shoes. And then I'm going to go ahead and tie a double knot, just like we did for the top of the tassel. Now, if I want this to be a little more decorative and fancy, I can start wrapping this around the top of my tassel. So I'm going to wrap that a couple times. And then I'm going to leave enough room to tie another double knot. So I tie it once. This little fun fuzzy yarn can be really tough to tie. Just a warning. So I tie it once, and I double knot it. Now, any extra string, I can cut it shorter. Be careful not to cut the knot. Down here at the bottom, I'm going to trim so that it's even. All your scrappy yarn can go in the yarn scraps in the collage center. Still not quite even. And then this yarn up here at the top, that can be used to tie it on to a project. You can also make a loop if you want to hang it. So this could be something fun that you add to any one of your artworks. Maybe you add it to a cardboard sculpture. Maybe you use it as a little puppet and you attach little eyes here and you make some of these into arms. So you could separate these as arms. You could separate these into legs. So I encourage you to figure out some fun way to use a tassel. Maybe you turn it into a keychain, you put it on your backpack, you add it to a necklace, you make it into jewelry. Have fun with your tassels.